a lot of content creators on this app that talk about having to deal with narcissistic abusers. And there are some, not all, that get under my skin when they post videos like, here's how to really tick off your narcissist. You are never going to hear me give tips about how to make your narcissist even more angry. They're generally like very angry people who don't have good intentions. And you never know when you're gonna get a narcissist that is violently angry. So it is just not in your best interest, safety-wise, to piss off a narcissist. But maybe they're doing it in good faith. They're saying, hey, if you do these very reasonable things, which is not usually what it is, but if you do very reasonable things, it will probably piss off this narcissist. I think what's the better teaching point here is that you can never predict what's going to set off the narcissist. Certainly there are things that everybody can do to accelerate an argument that's happening. But one thing that's just so confusing about narcissistic abuse is that you just don't really ever know what's going to set them off. But I will say that the narcissist is always looking for ways to get a rise out of you and to make sure that you have reactive abuse towards them. That's why you can't really tell, is this thing that I'm going to talk to them about going to tick them off or not? When I was with my narcissistic abuser, who I was with for 6.5 years, we lived together for a long part of that time. And when I was driving home from work, I worked much further away from the house than he did. And I would stop a couple of blocks away from the house and I would just sit in my car for about 20 minutes trying to compose myself. I'm like, okay, let me make sure I'm not bringing any crap in from work that then he can be mad about that. Or let me make sure that I'm not thinking this way or that way, or that I'm not being passive aggressive. I would literally go through a whole thing of let's do everything we can to make sure to not tick him off today. And it never worked because you can't predict what's going to set them off. They are looking for something that they can have an argument about, because if they can get that emotional response out of their victim, then they are controlling their victim. And if it keeps you, the victim, off balance, then it keeps you more under their control. So instead of trying to spend your time, how can I tick off my narcissist? I don't even understand that one. Or two, how do I stop ticking off the narcissist? Start figuring out, how do I get out of this narcissistically abusive relationship?